So after all of our appointments today and everything that we talked with them about, we have officially decided to proceed with IVF. So there's a lot, there's like a lot that goes into it. I've done a ton of research.
Me too.
Already, so I was, you know, kind of prepared and could follow along with them, even though there was so much more that they talked to us about that. We had 4 separate appointments there. Derek had to do another semen analysis. They want to evaluate him since it's been about a year since they've done just a full analysis of it, and make sure nothing's changed before so we know what to expect, I guess, IVF day. And then while he was doing that, I went and had a test called an HSG done, which is where they inject saline into your uterus to make sure that it's the proper shape, size, make sure there's no polyps or fibroids or anything abnormal that's in there that could interfere with an embryo implanting into the uterus. Also during that, he gave me a quick physical and told me that I have a mild heart murmur, which I've never heard before from anybody, so that's new.
Yeah.
He said we'll keep an eye on it and said that it could be exercise related if I'm doing like really intense exercises. So something to keep track of. And then he also did a breast exam on me, which he said he liked to do because some of the medicine that will be on can make some things worse. So I already know that I previously have fibroadenoma in one of my breasts. But he really did not like that was there. So he was really concerned about it because it's pretty big. I mean, you could definitely feel it. If I lay on my side, you can see it sticking out. So yeah, he was really concerned about it and wants all my old reports from my ultrasounds and everything like that to make sure before we go with the IVF, because all the medicine I'm gonna be on is going to be like super high in estrogen. He wants to go ahead and rule that out because I guess he had another client who had something very similar to me. And after all of the IVF treatments, doing all the injections and everything like that, it actually turned into cancer. So now I've been trying to scrounge up all my records, and I'm probably gonna have to go to the doctors and get that evaluated because it has been a while since I've done that. So I videotaped a little bit of the ultrasound while I was in there.
That picture. See that water going in the uterus there?
Yeah.
But make some notes, pull them on a piece of paper, say like it's this big here, you know, usually using like your areola as a landmark to know where things are, take a picture.
Okay.
And let's set the 3D. 1 second. And go. Everything looks good, by the way. The inside, so you see the black?
Yeah.
This is the surface right here. This is water in the uterus. So as we
Okay.
cut through it, you can see everything's nice and clean. If it wasn't, you would see stuff coming out of the corners, something up here, a polyp here, a polyp there. Everything looks fantastic.
Okay,
So what this
great.
allows me to do is I can go and I can grab this and 3-dimensionally move your uterus in and out like this. So we can look at every little crevice. So if there's ever like an issue that comes up and we go just kind of like with breast implants, let's say there was something in the uterus, we're like, oh, was this here last time?
So yeah, so we finished up with the HSG and he said that everything looked great. There was nothing abnormal in my uterus or anything to worry about, so that was positive. It was a really weird test though. Made me cramp for a while afterwards, and when I got up, there was a nice gush of saline. So that was fun. Then we met with my IVF coordinator who went over a ton more information with us, just about the process, all my medication, and we had to sign a bunch of consent forms. So we got our official IVF calendar, which is right here. So all the things in red are appointments that I have to go to. There's a couple more that were added kind of around that we have to take care of before we even start IVF. And then she gave me a chart on the medicine that I'll be taking and what days to inject it and how much and all that. So we went over that, and then we did a medicine teaching session. So she gave me like some information on what my dosage would be, and then place to go where there's videos if we for some reason forget about it, and some teaching guides from the various drugs that I'll be on. It's Gonal-F, Relax, Menopure, and then I have another HCG injection. These are all injectables, by the way. And we had a bunch of consent forms to sign. Basically, you know, side effects, risks, different options that you can do with IVF. So, like your embryos can, you know, they can fertilize the eggs naturally, basically put your egg in the sperm and let them fertilize naturally, or they can do something called ICSI, where they inject a sperm into the egg, which has a higher fertilization rate. They do assisted hatching. Sometimes the shell around the egg is too hard for the sperm to either get in or hatch, which it needs to hatch to be able to implant into your uterus. So there's something called assisted hatching. There is testing that you can do on your embryo. It's called PGS testing. It's a pre-implantation genetic screening. This is something that Derek and I are having a big debate over. We're really not sure whether we should do it or not. It's basically the embryos that make it to day 5. They'll take a sample of it and send it off to this lab, and they will look at the DNA and make sure that it's normal and doesn't have any, like, not necessarily diseases, but like genetic things that can be passed on. Derek and I don't know of any genetic issues in our family.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that you still can't have, you know, issues with the embryos. They recommend it for everybody because they say that it does increase your success rates, because you basically weed out the bad embryos. So say we had 10 embryos by day 5, and theoretically say 5 are genetically normal and 5 are abnormal. Well, we wouldn't know which ones are abnormal, so we may, not knowing, transfer, say a couple of them, and we don't get pregnant, or we miscarry, and that possibly could have been avoided by weeding out the abnormal embryos and just transferring genetically normal embryos, but still does not mean that it's 100% going to work. It just increases your chances so you don't waste time transferring bad embryos, waste time and money transferring, and hopefully you have a good embryo, transfer it, hopefully that works on the first try. So yeah, that's been a big debate, whether we do it or not, because like I said, they normally recommend it for if you're over 40, or if you have recurrent miscarriages, or if you've done multiple IVFs and none of them worked, or if you know that you have genetic conditions in your family. Yeah, we don't really meet any of those criteria besides the fact that we haven't been able to get pregnant. Maybe that's why, maybe not.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We gotta talk about it more. Again, we don't want to be doing this for a long time. We want to get pregnant and be done. Been going through it for a long time already. So, but we'll see.
It's all a big gamble, really. So,
yeah.
Either way, I guess it just depends how far we want to go and how much money we want to spend, and and then we had to go over some paperwork on what happens to our embryos. say if one of us passes away, what happens to our embryo? You know, our options were to either discard all of them, or our other option was to give the surviving person full custody. So we had to decide on that, and then we had to decide what did we want to happen to our embryos if, say, we both die at the same time. Do we discard them all, or do we donate them to another couple who is struggling with infertility? So those are some deep conversations that we had to have today.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff goes into this that I guess you never really thought of, like.
Yeah, not at all.
So then we got to the financial part of it, and she told me what I already knew, that our insurance doesn't cover a penny towards anything IVF related, so we're gonna be paying for this 100% out of pocket. So if we just do like the traditional IVF without the PGS testing, we're looking around $6,000 just for the procedure. That's not including any of the medication or anything like that. And then if we decided to do the PGS testing, we're looking around $9,000?
Mm-hmm.
Around $9,000. And that the testing covers up to 8 embryos. So if you have more than 8 embryos, they'll send them out, and that'll be additional fee as well to have those tested and biopsied. So it could definitely go up from there if we decide to do the PGS testing.
Mm.
So that's always a lot to take in.
Yeah. Big chunk.
Yeah, big chunk. It's just such a bummer that insurance just does not help you with any of this stuff. I mean, it's not like we're electing to go through all this, you know.
Yeah,
we have things going on, things that are wrong. Like, why are we exempt from medical care?
Normally, infertility, like IVF, not covered under insurance. Normally it is not, okay, on average. I mean, so that's something to keep in mind. You know, it's not just TRICARE, Aetna, whoever you, Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's normally IVF is not covered under insurance. That's for anyone. Yeah, it's not just like we have crappy insurance or something like that. We actually have pretty decent insurance through my work, and it's not covered.
It's not covered. It's really rare that you find a company that will cover IVF.
Yeah.
Or infertility in general.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so that's why we did the 2 IUIs, since we had a little bit of insurance coverage, which we could keep going. I could do up to 6 IUIs under my insurance. It's not covered 100%. I'm still paying about $500-600 every time I do an IUI. So just kind of to the point where we're like, okay, how many IUIs are we gonna do? It's gonna add up, you know, to where we'll be like, well, darn, we should have just done IVF if it didn't work. You know, we're already $3,000 deep into IUIs, so.
Yeah. When is enough enough? You know, I mean, I think a lot of people like us would just, you know, we can't stop, you know, just keep on going until it works, but that's just probably not the case for IUIs for us.
Yeah, it's not looking like it. So we had a busy day, got lots and lots of information, learned a ton of new stuff. It was good. We feel more confident about going through with it. We just have to decide on a couple more things. This
stuff is, I said it before earlier today, this stuff is fascinating. It really is. Everything that they're going to be doing and going through, it's truly fascinating, their abilities, and it's just, it's awesome. So.
Yeah. Science is crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. We're excited to, you know, for the lack of a better term, we're excited to get moving on this and see what the next step is, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Try and give little progress reports as we go along through this journey.
Sounds good. See ya.
Bye.